So I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this video is going to be dealing with this news clip that I saw, as well as an article going into some interesting information. Now, as you can already see, it says NYPD officers quitting. And I'm going to play this video and you can listen to it. But in essence, with the things that are getting ready to take place here in America, very badly in New York, right? As gas prices are the way they are, food is becoming more scarce and more expensive. Inflation is still kicking up, going more, and things are just getting hard. That there's going to be a very high level of chaos, of riots, of violence that's coming very soon. And interestingly enough, in New York, as these things are happening and getting ready to happen and getting worse, they're now the officers, right? Their law enforcement agents are getting cut and cut and cut and getting decreased. And this sounds like a systematic setup of a purge-like event or a purge-like situation. Because in the movie The Purge, we know that officially, they have a set time that, crime is legal and so on and so forth, right? For, I think, 12 hours, based on how the original Purge was. But when you look at what's going on here, when they say crime is legal, what does that mean? That means that law enforcement is not going to stop you, and you're not going to be charged, or somebody's going to come after you for doing any, the wrong thing or committing any crimes. Well, in essence, you're basically getting the same effect when you are allowing your police force or your law enforcement agents to, to cut down on numbers. A lot of them, as you're going to hear in this video, are retiring. A lot of them are leaving at record numbers, at very, very high numbers. As things are getting worse, crime is going up, violence is increasing. In essence, you're creating a purge-like scenario. But let's play it and hear what they got to say.
NYPD is going through a mass exodus of officers leaving the force just as the city is in the middle of a violent crime wave.
All right, and that includes dozens of detectives. Last month alone, Teresa Priolo has more on why they're saying enough's enough. Teresa.
Stephen Lloyd, looking at the numbers, almost as many cops have resigned in the first half of 2022 than in all of 2020. This mass exodus, the result of an aging police force, but also the result of certain laws like bail reform, mixed with what some officers perceive to be an anti-police climate.
The search is on for the next generation of New York's finest, now that veteran cops are resigning or retiring en masse. 100 detectives retired in June alone. Another 75 are expected to turn in their badges in July. Paul DiGiacomo is president of the Detectives Endowment Association.
It's very disturbing. When you're losing this amount of detectives, it's going to be a drastic effect on public safety.
Not just detectives. It's NYPD members of every rank. In 2020, 553 cops resigned, 2,599 retired. In 2021, 1,053 resigned, 1,654 retired. And for the first half of 2022, 497 have resigned already, 594 have retired. Michael Alcazar is a retired NYPD detective who spent 39 years on the job.
My friends are showing up to jobs, responding to a job to handle an assignment, and they're getting flack from the community. The community, what they feel like the community doesn't appreciate them, doesn't want them there, and they can't do their job.
There can be no denying a marked shift in sentiment toward uniformed officers throughout the pandemic. But then there's bail reform and a change in the way the DAs are handling cases. Detective Alcazar points out the officers up for retirement are also a part of a very large class.
When older guys are like my age, staying till like 30, and then they're throwing them back on patrol, it's probably not good for your health for most guys. We can't handle patrol. We're old men in our 50s. We can't go back on patrol. So age absolutely comes into the formula.
The problem is not only are officers retiring, new prospects aren't signing up in equal numbers.
I have students that are aspiring to be police officers. They were supposed to go in this last April class. They turned it down.
In response to this mass exodus, Mayor Adams says he's not worried about the change. He says it is a great opportunity to diversify the department.
So you can basically hear what's going on here, right? Now, something interesting that the man who was speaking said was that not only are the officers leaving, but the younger generation that are supposed to be
responding to a job
coming up, to fill up these spots are turning it down. All right. And you got this guy, Eric Adams. I mean, that guy is just something else, man. And he's okay with it. So what do you think is going to happen when you see an upward trend in crime rates, in rape, and just recently I saw a news article, a news clip about an Amazon delivery driver who tried to lay hold on a woman. Apparently, when he went into the house, he saw the woman in a towel, because she had just come out the shower or whatever. And according to her, his eyes popped wide open, and he was getting ready to pounce like a jaguar on its prey, right? But then, luckily, the woman's husband and I think a friend or something were home, and they were able to hold him down until the cops came and whatnot. What would have happened if her husband and the friend weren't at home? Now this Amazon delivery driver is making alternative deliveries, which is off, but crime is going up. Things are getting more and more dangerous and more wild with less and less consequences because you have less enforcement. Okay? So what do you think that's going to lead to? Now, what I mentioned is it's bad now, right? With the crime rates the way they are now, and the law enforcement dropping down, it's already bad now, but it doesn't stop there. It's going to get worse. When food riots, look, when energy blackouts, look, what's going to happen when there's a blackout and there's damn near no law enforcement agents around? What's going to happen when there's little to no food and people start bugging out? Just, I think yesterday or a couple of days ago, they said Canada, their bank went down, one of their major banking systems went down, and people couldn't really take out money and all of that. When you start having bank runs and you having all these situations taking place, you got all these situations taking place. What's going to happen then? You're going to have chaos. You're going to have food riots. Things are going to get violent. Very, very violent. It's going to be very bad because the scriptures say that. In the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter and the 7th verse, when you read it, it tells you that there's going to be a time called Jacob's trouble. All right. And that's going to be a great day of tribulation. That's when you say all hell breaking loose, in essence, that's the time of Jacob's trouble. As you can even see, look right here, you have the elder apostle Ramlab is live here. Apostle Tahar just did a video, which I'm going to check out, Lord willing. Says, well, when this takes place in America, martial law will follow. So now I got to check that video out. All right, but we're at the point where these things are on the move. Okay, now putting this aside, right? Not even aside, but just moving on to the next part. As this is happening here, what do you have going on here? This is the IMF, right? This is from rtnews.com. The IMF stands for International Monetary Fund, if I'm not mistaken. And it says IMF sounds global economic alarm. Global economic alarm. Not just the American economy or what's going on in Sri Lanka or what's going on in UK, the global economic alarm. So let's hear what they have to say. Worldwide recession cannot be ruled out, institution warns. Do you know how bad that's going to be? Not just a recession in one country, a recession worldwide. That's a world economic halt, a world economic slowdown, which of course is going to be beneficial for them because they want to change the world economy. They want to digitalize it. But before you can get to their change, this is going to cause a lot of turmoil. And as they're finding out, they'll make a forecast, and then when they get to that point, they'll say, no, this looks even worse. So they may be talking about a worldwide recession cannot be ruled out. Then later on, they may come and say it's definitely certain that we're going to have a worldwide recession. Then they may come out and say we're already in a worldwide recession. Then they may come out and say, look, forget a recession. This shit is going to collapse. And they could let it collapse, or they could have it be very tumultuous, like turbulent, and then they can come out and say, well, if unless we transfer it to this digital system, this thing is going to collapse and it's going to be over. It's pressure from above, pressure from below. They have to create that pressure. Anyway, it says the head of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, said on Wednesday that the outlook for the global economy had darkened significantly since April. Well, April, May, June, July, about 3 months or so or less. She told Reuters that a global recession next year could not be ruled out given the elevated risks. And she's saying that from now. We're in July, about halfway through. What happens in a month or two? What happens when as the farmers have been warning, food prices start skyrocketing, things get worse, the inflation starts getting worse? Well, what happens then? It says it's going to be a tough 2022 or a tough 22, but maybe even a tougher 2023. The IMF boss warned. She cited the global spread of inflation, dramatic interest rate hikes by central banks, a slowdown in China's growth, and unprecedented sanctions against Russia among the factors affecting global economies. Georgieva indicated that in the coming weeks, the IMF would downgrade its earlier projection of 3.6% global growth for this year. That would be the fund's third downward revision of its forecast this year. And what is that telling you? Things are getting worse and worse and worse. So they got to keep on revising this for the worse. It says we're in choppy waters, Georgieva stated, noting that longer-lasting tightening of financial conditions would complicate the global economic outlook. She stressed it was crucial to get soaring prices under control. The problem is that's not what they want to do. All right, they want the chaos. They want the problem. I'm gonna get a quick precept here in the book of not Matthew. I want to start off with Ezekiel. All right, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, verse 5. And it says, thus saith the Lord God Yahweh, an evil and only evil, behold, is come. And that's what we're saying now, right through the Spirit. We're warning you that an only evil has come. When you have officers quitting and crime going up, that's going to bring evil. When you have warnings like this, these warnings are telling you that evil is coming. Bad times are coming. All right, because along with these hard times comes people's reactions, right? 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall spoil their houses, and their goods with the sword. The scriptures talk about people's wives being ravished. Okay? So it says, Ezekiel 7 and 5, thus saith the Lord God, an evil and only evil, behold, is come. And what do we know about the Lord? The Lord is not a man that he should lie. His words come to pass. And this applies now as well, all right, to prophetically. It says, an end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. All right, like Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter and the 3rd verse, though it tarry, wait for it, which is talking about these prophecies, for it shall surely come, it will not tarry. So these prophecies, once they start hitting, they're going to just hit rapid fire continuously, and it's not going to slow down. All right, so we're at that point. Now, I also wanted to bring out this here in the book of Matthew, dealing with these officers leaving. Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. It says, and because iniquity, and in Matthew 24, the Lord Yahushai is, the disciples, when you read up the first few verses, the disciples asked him what are going to be the signs of his return and of the end of the world, right? So what Yahweh Shai is giving them are signs that will take place after he left and later on in the future now. So the book of Matthew 24, there are certain verses that apply to what happened during the time of the siege of Jerusalem, all right, from 66 to around 73 AD, and also what's going to happen in this time that we're living in, the end of the world. So what he said, one of the things he said is in verse 12, because iniquity shall abound. When something abounds, meaning it increases, it gets more. The love of many shall wax cold. When you go into the two words, key words in here, iniquity and love, love goes into, I believe it's agape, which is like, like hospitality, like caring, being considerate, like those kinds of things, compassion and all of that, that's going to wax cold, okay? Meaning that's going to go out the window. Now, when you look up the word iniquity, it goes into anarchy. Anarchy meaning without rule. Anarch is without, key at the end is a rule. Like you have a monarchy, right? Sole rule, roughly explaining it. But anarchy is without rule. And when you don't have rule, you have chaos. So because of anarchy, right? Because the chaos, the society without rules, right? The iniquity is going to abound. The love of many is going to wax cold because people are going to adapt to their situations and do what they got to do in order to survive. So when we warn you, according to the scriptures, that forget the purge, because you're gonna want to live in the purge than to live in the times that we're coming into now, because it's gonna get that bad. All right, so take the warning seriously and take heed. Pray to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, because if you don't have the Lord on your side, you're not going to survive this, especially not here in America. All right, take a look at what's going on in Sri Lanka right now. Okay, so things are getting bad and they're only going to get worse, and these are the final warnings. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. Lord willing, I'll put the links to both the video and the article in the description, and you can check them out for yourself. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem, Rachak Kodesh. And until next time, Shalom.